Let me say something bold. Influencers don't want you to look classy. And hold on, it's not because they think you can't. It's because if you did, you wouldn't need them anymore. If you ever realized how simple elegance really is, the illusion would fall apart. Because the truth is, looking put together isn't about tags or designer brands. It's about presence. It's about how you show up. And they know that if you tapped into that, their aesthetic wouldn't seem so special anymore. Because here's the truth that you'll probably never hear them say out loud. Class isn't bought, it's embodied. And when you realize that, you stop buying into that performance. And you know what you start doing? You start becoming that woman. We're watching a trend happen in real time. This thing called quiet luxury. The beige neutrals, the slick back bun, the expensive silence. And somehow, we've started to confuse that with being a woman of class. But let me remind you, class is not an aesthetic, it's an energy. These girls, they're performing restraint. But real restraint? That comes from self-mastery, not muted colors. Honestly and technically, you can wear bright colors, long nails, and still be classy. You can have curves, loud laughter, and still carry yourself with dignity. Put this in the back of your head as a mental note. Class doesn't shrink you, it refines you.
You don't have to share all your secrets, especially like beauty secrets. I'm like, why would I tell you how I do all my little things? Like, that's what makes me me.
I don't feel like people should have to tell people where they got it.
Let's start off with the psychology of gatekeeping. Why is it, you think, that when elegance enters the chat, it suddenly becomes expensive, unapproachable, and hidden behind closed doors? That's no coincidence. That's because gatekeeping isn't just about withholding knowledge. It's about creating an identity based on exclusivity. And baby, let me tell you, the influencer economy thrives on distance. The more unattainable their life seems, the more value they appear to have. Now let me tell you something. If you think that you need a $2,000 bag in order to be valuable, you'll spend your whole paycheck trying to be someone else's self-worth. Let's dive into some of the tactics they use. They'll have an aesthetic without an explanation. Everything is muted, clean, and minimalist. But they'll never explain how they've got there. You see the look, but never the learning. You see the beauty, but never the breakdown. And since we're already here and we're being honest, there's also a certain look that influencers push with this version of classy. You'll see the blonde wig, again the slick bun, giving clean girl aesthetic. And of course, the ultra soft tone. Because in their world, looking classy just means looking less like you, and more like who the algorithm prefers. The classy aesthetic gets rewarded when it's palatable and polished, darling. And whether they say it or not, that usually means features closest to whiteness.
In my view, if TikTok employs algorithms that disproportionately remove content from Black creators, it disproportionately silences and excludes Black creators from compensation opportunities. And this problem happens in parallel to the lack of adequate recognition, attribution, and compensation to Black creatives for their content. The exploitation, cultural misappropriations, the erasure of Black creatives' ownership of their fashion, art, and media is nothing new. We need transparency, accountability, and bold action to mitigate against misinformation, bias, and exclusion of certain communities from the opportunities present on platforms like TikTok.
That's why you'll see women switching their look completely. Honey, they're toning down everything from the volume of their hair to their skin tone, just to be considered elegant. And with all that being said, let me remind you, babe, real class doesn't require you to erase yourself. Okay, next, you'll see luxury by default. From the clothes to the candles to the cutlery. Everything is high-end. There's no budgeting, no creativity. And if you can't copy their exact items, you're excluded from the aesthetic. Next, we're gonna talk about coldness being used as currency. Most influencers feel emotionally distant. And you might be like, why Des? Why is this? Because approachability breaks the spell. And this may sound harsh, but if they feel too much like you, they lose their aspirational value.
How are you all relating to these influencers? I'm so confused. To influencers being paid tens of thousands of dollars for one post, being flown out by brands, living in beautiful penthouses and amazing homes. I can't relate to any of that. How are you guys doing it? I'm assuming that you're living the same lifestyle as them if you can relate to it, because I cannot relate to it at all. I'm like, so you just be flying in jets too and getting flown out to Paris, New York, wherever as well by all these big brands? I don't get it.
Next, let's talk about that brand-only validation. A lot of influencers don't really like to promote anything that isn't designer. Not because affordable isn't stylish, but because they can't sell relatability and then charge $20,000 for a brand deal. They don't elevate the everyday, they replace it. Now, let's get into the truth they don't teach you. Class is not a lifestyle you buy into. It's a mindset you grow into. Remember, the elegance lives in the details. You listen more than you speak. You wear what flatters, not flexes. You keep your nails clean and your boundaries cleaner. You enter quietly, but people feel you when you walk in. And guess what? Those things don't require any money. It requires awareness. Elegance can look like a well-fitted white H&M blouse, a signature scent, even if it's only $35. Doing your skincare like it's a ritual, not a flex. And pretty much just doing what feels like you. And here's the part they don't teach you. Looking put together is less about aesthetic and more about alignment. It's about walking like you know who you are, even if your life isn't perfect. Okay, so now that that's done, let this be a moment of de-influencing, if you may. You do not need a $2,000 bag to look expensive, babe. You also don't need a beige lifestyle to look classy.
Hello? Kim? Hello? Kim? Kimmy? Hi!
You also don't need to perform to be perceived as worthy. You just need to remember who you are. The woman who is truly unforgettable, she isn't the loudest. She's not the most branded. She's the most embodied. She's done the work, not just on her wardrobe, but on her worth. So, the next time that you scroll past someone that makes you feel like you're not enough because your outfit isn't designer or your morning isn't filmed in 4K, remember this: luxury doesn't come from being followed. It comes from being at peace. Let's talk about this illusion of ease that we see. Most of the time, what they're selling isn't elegance. It's the illusion of ease. The idea that their lives are soft and serene because of what they wear and where they shop. But that's not ease. That's editing. Let me tell you something right now. They don't show you the credit card debt, the skipped therapy, the emotional labor behind curating a lifestyle that's not even real. And guess what happens? You start to feel behind, when in reality, you're just not pretending. Chasing aesthetic perfection can lead to burnout, overspending, and self-resentment. And this is coming from me. But class has never required a neutral set or a white-walled apartment. It's about harmony within, not harmony on your feed. So again, real class is in the details. Do you keep your word? Do you show grace in chaos? Do you care for yourself like someone you deeply love? Emotional maturity is the real luxury that no one can buy. It's not yelling back, it's knowing when to speak and when to leave, and when to let silence do the work. Elegance is doing the inner work, the boundary setting, the quiet discipline, the confidence to say, I don't need to post this to prove it's real. Now that's grown woman energy, and that's why they gatekeep it. Do you get it now? Because when women start teaching each other how to elevate with what they already have, the industry loses control. You don't always need a haul. Babe, you need healing. You don't need another aesthetic. You need alignment. So don't just be influenced. Be informed and be intentional. Because class isn't something you chase, it's something you choose. And if no one's told you before, elegance looks good on you. Wow, I like that. I guess I've officially talked myself into an auntie role. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Bye for now. Toodles.